conspiracy on TikTok where Gen Z LeBron James fans watches 90s basketball to determine Michael Jordan is overrated and triggering boomers. I'll be honest with you. I am a part of the people that have been watching the 90s videos are fraudulent meta. And honestly, one, I love it because LeBron James is the undisputed GOAT. And this only provides substantive, objective analysis to prove that reality. And two, I don't know. I feel like they got a lot of good takes. Now, what do I mean by this? Dude, I'm sorry. It's just this is your Achilles heel. Dude, I know all about it. I've been watching those fucking videos nonstop.
Israel and Palestine.
Wait, what the fuck? No, not this. I've been watching those videos. Since they popped off. And honestly, I think it's correct. And the old version of this meme was basically saying, oh, it's because, Michael Jordan, undisputed GOAT, except he was like playing against fucking plumbers and shit and math teachers. The actual substantive meme, I think, the actual substantive truth of it is that even when people were playing against like professional basketball players, I don't think that the medical science is anywhere close to where it is now. And I don't think that basketball as a game is anywhere close to as advanced as it is now. That's it. I think it is the only argument for it was harder back then is the fact that the only argument for it was harder back then is that defense was way more aggressive. Like people were chopping. People were literally hitting each other. Okay? Nonstop. That's it. They would just beat you up. But if you look at the broader game overall, at least they've made very compelling arguments on these TikToks. They've made very compelling argument on these TikToks that I watched at least that straight up, like they were not playing good defense at all, aside from the chopping. Hassan, you're a Larry Bird fan? No, he's from an even older era. No, I'm a undisputed LeBron is the champion guy. Bro, you're so wrong. It's hilarious. Medical science, nutrition, and more consistency in early develops have just made better humans, but also better basketball players in general. I just think that adjusted to the time, sure, MJ thrived and was good. Doesn't watch basketball, watches the TikTok about basketball, insists he's knowledgeable. Okay, dude, listen, I get it. You were there, you're 40 years old, and that's the reason why you're saying these things, okay? It's fine. I get it. Mickey Mouse plays against podcasters, bro. Reconsider this. Come on, bro. Those podcasters were clear in the fucking 90s, okay? People would look at them like they're fucking aliens, brother. People would look at like the average NBA player now like they're motherfucking aliens from a different planet. LeBron admitted he wouldn't be able to beat Karl Malone or Penny Hardaway. Yeah, he's just, because he's humble. Literally because he's humble and he's giving props to the former GOATs. Hakeem would. would rip Wemby into two? Would tear Wemby into two? Okay. Bro, maybe my brain is a little bit broken by the amount of uncontested shots I saw these goats miss, okay, in these TikTok compilations. Or maybe it's because it reconfirms my suspicions slash my biases, even though I think my biases are on the side of truth on this. If you're saying if LeBron was playing at the same time as MJ, he'd be worse because medical science was worse, I agree. No, I'm saying modern day LeBron at peak, playing against like with all of the future scientific achievements, would absolutely clear. It's just very odd to me that a lot of people, NBA, I feel like is the only fucking group of people that act like the science behind athleticism has not advanced and that every single person is playing at the same level at like now as they did in the fucking 90s. As a matter of fact, worse than that, NBA is the only fandom where the old heads literally argue that it was harder.
What's up, YouTube? It's the one and only Legend of Winning, aka Low. That consistently becomes a reoccurring theme is misinformation. Misinformation that unfortunately is trickled down and passed through a community that may not be willing enough nor able to actually go out of their way to be properly informed. And that's what I want to talk about in today's video. 2 to 3 weeks ago, Jimmy High Roller uploaded a video challenging the idea that 80s and 90s basketball, especially on the defensive end, was nowhere near as difficult as many ex-players and older people try to make it out to be. Now, let me be very clear on what I'm about to say. I support Jimmy High Roller, subscribe to his channel, hit the notification bell and everything, and watching that video from start to finish, I can tell you right now, there is a lot of misinformation in that video. And unfortunately, I don't believe Jimmy High Roller thoroughly understands how bad of a job he did of conveying the message that he was attempting to convey in that video. And unfortunately, because of that video and due to it touching literally over 1 million people, there have been a lot of people who have consistently attempted to regurgitate some of the talking points that I've seen in that video within the last 2 to 3 weeks without thoroughly understanding how misinformed they are. And so today, I'm going to try my hardest to not only correct, but rightfully inform as many people as I.
Hand checking made the game a lot more physically challenging. The D was a lot better. The rules today are completely bent towards offense. I think overall defense was worse, regardless of the fact that you can be infinitely more physical. That's what I mean. There are, but then again, I don't know. Listen, all I'm saying is I don't know. I don't know. Bro, you don't fucking watch sports? They don't play defense at all now? I don't think that they don't play defense at all now. You're comparing modern sports science, LeBron to Jordan. That's like saying Inspector Gadget shits on bozos who don't have rocket shoes. What the fuck is your point? You right about lots of stuff, but wrong about this one, big dog. I think it's crazy. Talk about a real sport like soccer. This argument is so stupid. Everyone thinks their time is the best time for everything. MJ was playing as plumbers and teachers or whatever is so fucking brain dead and not even true. It's not even about that. I think that the average player skill in the NBA in the 80s and 90s does not compare to the average player skill in the NBA now. And I also don't think that like today is the best time for basketball. I think tomorrow will be better. That's just science. Like inevitably, even outside of rule changes, people become more knowledgeable about diets. People become more knowledgeable about the medicine that they take. Like there are real fucking freaks out there now. You got dudes with incredible ball handling who are ambidextrous, can fucking shoot, and they're like minimum 6'8". It's nuts. That shit was like non-existent, I think, in the NBA in the 80s and 90s. It was a unique circumstance. Anyway. This is ridiculous. It's worse than your Gatorade take. I've opened up a storm, I think.
Possibly can.
Clarification added to prohibit handshaking through rigid enforcement, allowing a defensive player to retain contact with his opponent so long as he does not impede his opponent's progress. So, since 1979, it has been completely illegal to handshake players in the NBA.
Not really. The rule that Jimmy High Roller is referring to was the NBA's first attempt to try to reduce the impact of handshaking in the NBA, but it failed miserably for multiple reasons. For starters, it allowed the defensive player to put their hands on the hip of the offensive player so long as it did not impede their progress. Now, the reason why this rule was such a massive failure is because
I literally asked my cousin who plays for the CBA in China over WeChat, and he told me to stop listening to you.
unless the offensive player was making an obvious or a dramatic move from one hand to the next, attempting to switch directions, there's no way that the referees were going to know how much pressure the defensive player was applying with a hand check that could potentially be impeding their progress.
6, and the Knicks 4. And there is the foul on Harper for the hard hand check.
And it was almost like Derek Harper was going to see what he could get away with, and Joe Crawford all over it.
It's hard to tell how much resistance he is showing with that hand check.
Barb, you were talking about how much pressure does Derek Harper put on. First of all, you're allowed a light hand check, but not to impede the progress of the dribbler. So it's just a matter of the officials putting a little bit more closer look into the hand check. The rules are intact.
So yeah, the rule that Jimmy High Roller is referring to did not eliminate hand checking, simply because the rule was written way too loosely and it still gave way too much judgment call on the referees, in which, for the most part, referees.
Warriors ruin basketball, a bunch of nerds. Why couldn't they just become CI analysts like normal people? Steph Curry's a liberal. That's from the devil.
Still allowed players to hand check and potentially even impede the progress of offensive players when they were trying to make their moves. But more importantly, the real reason why I know for a fact the rule that Jimmy High Roller is referring to did not eliminate hand checking is because before the 1994-1995 season, there is a rule that specifically and exclusively states that you can no longer hand check in the back.
Curry's wife follows Libs of TikTok on Twitter. That's what I'm saying, dude. He's not a liberal. He's a reactionary right winger, and everybody knows that. Okay? He just to hide it. You know, Golden State and all. Have you hooped with any NBA players? Yes. The only NBA player I've ever hooped with is Meta World Peace. And he was cooking motherfuckers. LeBron is a Christian Democrat while Jordan learned basketball from the Cuban Communist Party. No. Okay. Jokes aside, Jordan is, his politics are awful. And also an all-around bad guy. Come on, even the biggest Jordan dick riders will be the first to recognize that. That's crazy. I met Blake Griffin, but I never played basketball with him. Yeah. All right. We're done. Yeah, Jordan is a phenomenal basketball player, but just all around bad guy outside of that. That's it. Like genuinely like a bad dude. So much so that I think there was like a deliberate rebranding to make it seem like his badness is what made him so good at basketball, which I don't agree with, but like, oh yeah, you have to be a bad guy to be that good at basketball. Anyway, here's a good guy who I would like to have on the broadcast, the Turkish legend. I'm gonna go pee while the goat plays.
Here comes